Good morning, beautiful souls, and happy hump day. Happy Wednesday to you all. I am going to tell my little story time about my healing that I had the other day. So go and grab yourself a cuppa. I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible, and articulate it as best as I can because it was the most profound experience that I've ever had in all my life, like dead set serious. I'm sharing, obviously, because I love to teach and help others through the clarity of my own example. But I also love sharing stories about how wonderful energy is and how amazing it is and what happens to you when you do actively shift your own energetic vibration and frequency and get it more into alignment with what it is and what outcome you're wanting to manifest in your life, and how wonderful the universe works in our favor when we get ourselves in that position. So buckle up. I hope I do this justice, but if not, it's cool. I often joke with stories like this because it's kind of like trying to help teach people what an orgasm feels like. Nobody can really explain it or define it or whatever. It's such an individual feeling, an individual experience that sometimes you just can't put words on emotions sometimes and feelings and all that sort of stuff, but I'll do my best. I'll just give you a little bit of a prelude before I get into it. Most of you probably know this story, but for those who just happen to stumble across this video or whatever, you'll get a bit more of an understanding about it. So I was diagnosed with CPTSD about 8 months ago, I think it is now. And CPTSD is basically a compilation of traumatic events that have happened in someone's life. So some people have PTSD, which is they can identify a certain trauma that they've had, and they hopefully work with a psychologist or psychiatrist or something to help them get through that. So it's usually attached to maybe one actual event that's happened in their life. But for me, they define it as CPTSD because it's an accumulation of so many different situations and experiences that someone's had in their life. So it's not black and white, and it's not cut and dry, and it can often, and in my case, it has affected various areas of my life. So I still consider myself very blessed because I've always been spirit-led. So spirit have basically helped me save my own bacon. And even though it has put me into a state of survival mode, I've identified what happens with me is I go into more like a functional freeze where I function better. It's not healthy, but I have always functioned better when I freeze. And there's a lot to it, and you sort of got to get into the psychology of it and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to get into that, but that's basically that's what happens to me. And because I had a lot of trouble processing emotion and comparison from new experiences to old experiences and all that sort of stuff, I was very reactionary. So I didn't think, I just did, and I reacted, and then I kicked myself, and then made situations a lot more messy than they had to be, and it was a one big bloody thing, you know what I mean? So I had that going on, but 3 or 4 years ago, anyway, over the course of, let's just say within the last 5-year window, I had a lot of more traumatic events happen. And that was obviously my mum making her transition after caring for her for a very, very long time. And everything that was sort of involved, all the injustices that were involved in that. But then 9 months later, my brother did take his own life from mental health and addiction and stuff like that. So it's quite funny because I actually found a lot of peace with my mother and my brother's passing because I'm a spiritualist. So I know that I would rather them transition home and be at peace and in love and high vibe and healthy and strong and loving and all that sort of stuff than to be selfish enough for myself just to keep them here, just to make me happy. So on the spiritual sense, I always found peace with that. But it still doesn't make it any easier for your two physical best friends in the whole wide world, the only two people that you truly loved and trusted and could, that held space for you and you held space for them, and that beautiful dynamic, it's really alienating and foreign to all of a sudden, within a short window, have that removed from your life. So I have been working on myself and building up, healing myself, I suppose you could say, over the last 5 years, and I'm still a work in progress in the 3D world. I'm still human, but I have such a passion, and I know that's what my loved ones would want for me, is to move forward and to move forward fearlessly and to live my life and live in their honor. And I just literally saw a bird fly back there, so I think that's my mum or coming to, say good day. But yeah, so that's where I'm currently at. There's, like I said, there's a lot more to it, but I really want to specifically talk about the healing that I had on Monday. I'm very active in my own personal development and my self-development. I do practice what I preach, and in turn, I can empathize with what a lot of people are going through, have gone through, but I'm not an enabler. I won't allow myself to be enabled, and I will never enable anybody else to stay stuck, stagnant, and all that sort of stuff. But the how this sort of unfolded was, I actually had a totally separate issue, and it's been happening over the course of the last few weeks and stuff like that. So, and I didn't really know what to do with it. I put all my own tools and skills and strategies into this situation, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and actually reach out and ask for some help. And you'll hear me say in my collective readings all the time, if you need help, ask for it. Big old independent Danielle was like, oh, no, it's all right, I'll handle it, I'll get it. But this was something that I knew that if I didn't nip this energy in the bud, it was going to either get away on me, I was going to react or feel a certain way, which of course will just breed more and more of the same. So long story short, and you probably hear me say that a lot, long story short, what I did was I actually reached out to my PTV family. So I reached out to production and stuff like that, and I just sort of said, look, I'm experiencing this. Have any seasoned professionals had this kind of experience? And, yada. And there was a handful of beautiful souls that were only too willing to sort of reach out and give me recommendation and give me feedback and do all that sort of stuff. But there was one particular lady that sort of just said, just give me a call and I'll talk to you about it. So I did that. So I instantly jumped on and gave her a call. Old version of Danielle probably would have felt like I was bothering them, like, oh, this isn't a big deal. Like I always seem to minimize the extreme emotion or the extreme feeling or the discord that I was feeling because I didn't want to bother them. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to drag other people into my mess and all that sort of stuff. And that's the psychological side. So I work with my psychologist on that type of stuff, but I was very proud of myself because I said, no, I need help with this. I don't want this to continue. I don't want this to be a forever running story. Let's get this sorted. So I gave her a call. The most loveliest lady that I have spoken to in quite a while. But what I loved about it the most, and what most people probably don't realize about me, I don't know, but when I actually interact with others, because I am such an intense energy worker, I can tell a person's intention. So it was so nice and refreshing for me to talk to someone who is of true service. Their only intention was to help and support me, and I literally felt that. Like she probably don't know, but I actually got really, really teary because it was such a beautiful feeling to feel, if that makes sense. So yeah, I reached out, I pushed myself through that, And I reached out to her, and her intention was beautiful, and we ended up talking, and she gave me some really great advice and all that sort of stuff. And obviously, because she's a beautiful psychic as well, she kind of just said flippantly, you know, maybe I think you need a healing. And that's not the first time that I've heard that. I have had my own readings over the last month or two, where the readers have actually said, you need a healing. Like, doing all the work, that's cool, but you need an actual healing. So she put me in touch with somebody. She texts this person, and this energy, I can't give the name of them, I'm afraid. A lot of people have been reaching out going, what's the healer? Who's the healer? Who are they? And all that sort of stuff. I'm not in a position to share, because this energy actually just lives their 9 to 5 and just does their thing. This is just a gift that they have, and they do it all for nothing. They do it all for free. So I just put it out to the universe, and I thought, well, if this energy believes that they can help, or that he's meant to help me in some way, or whether I'm actually open to receive it, I said it'll happen. So it was really nice that this lady went above and beyond for absolutely nothing to help me with what I was going. Obviously she could pick it up. So anyway, so that was all cool. Anyway, so she said, look, he's a very, very busy person. Very, very busy person. Don't be surprised if you don't hear from them for a little while. But this is how it's going to be. So I went, sweet, thanks so much. And so yeah, I just said, Jesus, take the wheel. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Anyway, later on that afternoon, on the same day, this healer actually rang me. And I'm so spewing because I actually missed the call. So they just said, just text back. So I text back, and that's all cool. And it turns out that he said, I'll call you tomorrow afternoon. I'm like, oh, sweet. Thanks so much. Still getting over the wog. So I said, 12. I can't, thank you so much. I really, really, really do appreciate it. He's, no worries, and all that sort of jazz. So anyway, when he rang, and we are having general chit chat, and this is the part that I'm going to have to keep articulate, because this healing actually, we were actually on the phone for about 2.5 hours in total. And there's a lot of personal information. I'm not going to share that stuff, obviously, but I'll just share the other stuff. But as soon as I answered the call and stuff, he was just telling me about himself, his abilities, and all that sort of stuff. And he said specifically, what is it that you are hoping to heal? And I said, I need help releasing the trauma. I really, really just feel like I need help releasing the trauma. And in my mind, I just thought, it's basically just the trauma from losing my mum and my brother, but it ended up being bigger and beyond that. It just absolutely blew my mind. So, and he just sort of asked for a few specifics and stuff like that. So we got started, and it was so weird because I thought, I just sort of sat there, and I just took a big deep breath, and I just went, I welcome anything at this point. And there are still aspects of the mind where you go, is this for real? Like, is this really happening? But it was so weird because I'm just sitting there and I'm just looking down, and this gentleman was talking and stuff like that. And you probably saw the post. If you haven't, go back and check it out. There was a big, it looked like a massive selenite crystal light that turned up on my bedroom floor. And my bedroom is totally dark. The light couldn't have come in from anywhere. And I'm looking and I'm going, because if anywhere, it was coming down from the top. It wasn't coming in from the sides. Because I know when I get the afternoon sun in my room anyway, even though I've got my blinds down, the sun will come in a parallel kind of, it's common sense. But this light was coming down from the top. And someone just said, take a photo, because it was the energy of this light. And when I looked into the light, it looked like a flame. It was burning like that. And I was like, and because I follow my intuition, I was like, watch the light, stare into the light, look at the light. And I just kept saying that. So it was like I was in 3 little dimensions. I was still my physical self. I was attached to this beautiful healing energy through another human, But then all of a sudden there was the intuitive light and the healing light that was on the ground. And it was like this beautiful little triangle. And I like I say, I can't explain it. I really can't explain it. But anyway, we let it go. I just kept going. And what I loved about his energy the most is it was just like I was having a conversation with a friend. There wasn't anything big and guru-y, whatever. He was just doing his thing. I was allowing it and doing my thing. And it was all just general conversation. Anyway, so he picked up on so many specific points in my life that absolutely blew my mind. It wasn't like a psychic reading per se. It was just like spirit. I believe it was God, but I just believe it was just like spirit were going, let's not get into the riffraff. Like, let's not get into all the detail because nearly 49 years of detail. We'll just stick to specifics. And he gave me so many specifics and I'm going, yes, yes, yes. And then he asked me, he said, do you have any parts of your body that are giving you grief right now? And I said, oh yes, my hip. And he said, all right, let's just start there and let's just focus on there. So as he was doing what he was doing, because we were on the phone, I didn't visually see, which takes a lot of trust because I'm a visual learner. I like to visually have conversations with people typically, and I prefer to watch something, but I trusted the process and stuff. And he'd never said anything. He was just doing what he was doing. And all he kept saying was, how do you feel now? How do you feel now? How do you feel now? And I said, I feel a warmth in that area. And he said, oh, perfect, perfect. And he did say that I did have a pinched nerve in there. So he said, that's the physical, you know. But honestly, he gave me healing in that area. And I had about a day and a half relief from that. So that felt magical to me because I'm nearly in a month of having this bloody pain in my hip, and I literally had to have scans and x-rays and ultrasounds and everything on it yesterday to just see what's going on with that. But the relief, but he said, oh, you know, it goes all across your lower back and it comes down here and this and that, and he explained on my physical. And I said, yes, that's been happening for the longest time. And he said, oh, okay. And he goes, oh, your energy's, he goes, it's quite funny, but it's quite tricky because your energy is just jumping all over the place. And he picked up on my stress. And he said, look, it's just going to take me a little bit more time just to like settle. So I'm saying to myself, just settle down, Danielle, settle down, Danielle. La, 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 la. Anyway, I can't remember really where that led into, if I'm honest, but he was pinpointing everything. He was doing everything. But what really spun me out the most is that he picked up on someone that I was seeing a very long time ago. Now, every time I have a psychic reading, they always say, once you get rid of this ex, someone new will come in. And I'm sort of sitting there going, I don't really have an ex. If that makes sense. Like, it was kind of difficult for me to cognitively remember because I call it trauma brain and I'm perimenopausal, so brain fog is just part of that parcel as well. But I just couldn't pinpoint who they keep talking about because I was basically with my eldest boy's dad and we separated like 17 years ago or something like that. And in between then I may have had people that I was getting to know for a month or two or whatever and just realizing, no, this ain't gonna work. I wouldn't personally title them as an ex. It was just getting to know you, if you know what I mean. So, and I just couldn't pinpoint, why do they keep saying that? Why do they keep saying that? Anyway, so I just thought, oh, well, it is what it is, eh? And obviously when you get told that kind of information, I can sort of put myself into my client's shoes now. You know, if they say your ex, you're instantly thinking, oh, you go and put it to a specific person. And I sort of said, well, it can't be my oldest boy's dad because I have so much love and respect for that man. Like, we just grew apart. There was no hatred, no animosity or anything, and there was nothing there. So it can't be him. And I'm trying to pinpoint, and he kept saying, no, this energy was a practitioner. This energy was a practitioner. And I'm still thinking, who the hell? Like, what? Who? And he said, look, you'll know the answer to this because this person used to practice as well, but you used to laugh at them. And that really pissed them off. And I went, oh. And I'm going, oh, Jesus, could you pick which one? Let's think and pick one. But anyway, it was, we were just conversating. Like I say, this was a 2.5 hour conversation. So we sort of stuck with that topic. And he goes, geez, you haven't had a very good run in relationships and connections, have you? And I said, no, I haven't. And he said, why was that? And it was always infidelity. There was always infidelity, lack of truth, lack of honesty. And my ex Gav, that's my eldest boy's dad, he's the only one that I can fully hand on heart say that I fully trusted, fully believed in, and always felt safe and secure in that connection and in that relationship. But everybody else around it, different story. CBDSD, different story. Anyway, and he said, look, I can't remember exactly what he said, like in that way, but he goes, they don't want me to go back into all that. They want me to stick with the energy that you were connected with and about 6 or 7 years ago. And I'm like, I really can't remember. And then he said something and I went, oh my God, I totally forgot about that person. I totally forgot about them. I said, now I know who you mean. And he said, yeah. He said, why did you entertain that energy? I said, initially, I entertained that energy because I was stuck at home with mum, caring for mum at that time. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't leave her for, more than an hour. That's how delicate her situation was. And I didn't have any help or support outside of myself. So admittedly, it wasn't that I was attracted to the person. I was actually attaching myself to that energy because they came to visit me. They came and entertained me. They come and kept me company when I had nowhere else to go and stuff. There were 22 on the camera. There are 101 reasons why I should never have been attached or connected to that energy. But once again, I felt lonely. I felt unsafe. I felt overwhelmed. All those things. He was that one person that would show up for me. And that's how I felt. Every weekend, he would show up for me. So I got addicted to that. But during that time of our rendezvousing, as you could call it, I saw aspects and felt aspects about this energy that were completely off. So much so one day I remember having a mental breakdown because I could feel his energy manipulating me. I could just feel it. It was an awful feeling. And I literally went to the extreme of reacting and getting in touch with him and going, what are you doing? What are you doing? I can feel what you're doing it, and you're doing it here and you're doing it there and la 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 la. And he's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not, and all that. And obviously because I also had chronic carer's fatigue at that time, my emotion and vibration and energy and frequency was literally on the bottom of my feet. I had none. I was like, so it made it very easy for people to energetically manipulate me. So anyway, I didn't think much of it. I did have enough as enough. This person did dabble in stuff. He considered himself a Wiccan. I remember turning up one day and he's got a big hoodie on and he's got these dark eyes, and I remember laughing at him. And the shit he used to say, I honestly, I couldn't help it because obviously I'm doing what I do. It was the most ludicrous, dark, stupid, idiotic crap that I've ever heard in my life. And it was just a natural response. He'd say something and I'd, okay. But what I didn't realize I was doing, I was probably being really patronizing. Oops. But yeah, I was feeding his darkness. And I probably have to make an apology because I remember over the last few videos and lives that I've done, I have said there's no such thing as magic. There's no such thing. And I still stand by that to a certain degree. because I've never had to go into that realm, and spirit still won't let me go into that realm. But I will apologize for those who have had entities or attachments or anything less than attached to them, because it turns out that that energy that I dealt with 6 or 7 years ago, who dabbled in the dark arts, I didn't know that. I honestly, he had crystals everywhere. What actually caught my attention and spirit going run, 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 was he was putting patches onto some type of big heavy cloak that he used to wear. And I think one of them was like an anarchy symbol and one was a Nazi symbol or something like that at that time. And that's when I went, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. So I didn't realize he was actually practicing in it whatsoever. So I didn't think much of it. I just felt, as soon as I said, you piss off, mate, come and get your shit and go, I thought, oh, cool, I'm relieved now. But there was always this void. There was always this void. And no matter what I did when it come to law of attraction, to healing, to manifesting, to everything that I do, to connecting with spirit, I could not budge this feeling. I couldn't budge it. And that's why I end up in a shrink's office, because I said, I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. Anyway, so the healer actually gave me props for sort of, not suffering, but for dealing with it and maintaining a high frequency based on the energy that was going on within me. And there was 3 things in me. It wasn't just one. There were actually 3 energies that had attached themselves, and I was carrying them around not knowing. So, anyway, so we found that out and stuff like that. And he goes, okay, let's get rid of this. And what I loved about this gentleman's process is that neither of us were trying to control something. Apparently working with me was actually like a breath of fresh air, because it was like we were working together energetically. And everything I said, he laughed, not laughed, haha, but he laughed. He goes, because that's exactly what I see. That's exactly what I'm picking up on. And he said to me, did you have a dream like in the last week or 2? And I said, yes. I said, I actually had a dream that I was laying on a bed and there was a gentleman at my feet that had their hand on me and they were flicking through a magic book. And I'm going, no, you fucking don't. I remember in my dream that I was screaming at him, no, you don't. No, you don't. And I sort of woke up, but then I went back. And then when I went back, I felt like all these black hands were coming all over me and they were trying to hold me down. And I'm going, no, you won't, no, you won't. And I woke myself up so startled that it felt like I was screaming out in my sleep. And I'm thinking, shit, I hope I didn't wake my son up and scare him, because I was screaming. I'm going, get off me, and all that sort of stuff. And he said, yeah, he goes, that's what's in you. And basically through sex, that practitioner, if you could call him that, whatever he was doing, he was energetically putting it into me through sex. And I remember him saying to me once, he said, if I can't have you, then no one's going to have you. So that come to my mind when I was getting the healing done. And I went, oh, right. And all the little jigsaw pieces started to click. So what I loved about the process is that not only could I feel the shift happening within me through release, I was also getting a psychological understanding. So I sort of paired and married the two really, really well and really nicely. Anyway, so keep going. So he goes, okay, he goes, we need to get this out. He goes, this is just the one of a few that you've got in there, but we need to get this one out. This energy is what has been basically sabotaging and affecting your energy to attract like-minded energies, but also keeping you from getting into a connection or relationship. And I'm like, anyway, so we did it. So I sat there. Basically, the best way I can describe it is, he said, how are you feeling? What do you see? What's happening and all that? And I felt like there was a big octopus, and its head of the octopus was actually like lodged underneath my rib cage and stuff like that. And all its tentacles was just going everywhere. So I cannot believe what my body did. he didn't say anything. This is the funny thing. He didn't say it, but I was visualizing it and stuff. All he kept saying was, how do you feel? How do you feel? What's happening? What's happening for you? And stuff like that. But I basically visualized this octopus being sucked up through my chest, up. And I'm telling you what, this thing was resistant. It did not want to move. It didn't want to leave. It didn't want to budge. It didn't want to do anything. But because of his energy and my energy working together, it basically come up and it literally took up my whole head cavity. Now, this is going to sound crazy to some people, and I don't give a shit, because if it didn't happen to me, it was freaking real. It was stuck in my head cavity, and I'm sitting there on the ground, literally going like that. And I could feel it in there. And in my head, I'm saying, not today, Satan, not today. And because I always know that we have the energetic power over these things, but I didn't know it was there. I had no idea it was there. And he goes, nah, let's keep going. And next minute, I can just felt like the top of my crown chakra just sort of open up, and I could feel it like being pulled out from the top of my head. And it was such a creepy feeling, because I could feel all its little tentacles still sort of coming together here. And next minute, it just went, and it just left. I felt giddy. I got goosebumps just thinking about it. The feeling of this energy leaving my physical self it felt like a bloody miracle. Seriously, it felt like a miracle. And it left. And I'm going like, holy hell. Obviously we had a discussion about that and stuff like that. I said, I can't believe that. But what I loved about this healer too is that through every step of the process, he settled my energy and he soothed my energy. So even though I felt really giddy and I was like spacey, I said to him, I'm so sweaty. It wasn't even a hot day. I said, but I'm so sweaty. My palms are like dripping. And he said, yeah, that's all that negative energy leaving your body. I could not believe it. It was like, pew! Anyway, so that happened. And I just felt the relief. And he goes, how are you feeling? And I said, I feel like I don't know what to do with myself. I felt really, really disorientated. Honestly, the best way I can explain it is that if just say, if you had a limb amputated or something like that, and you've got to learn to live without it, that's how that moment felt for me. Anyway, so that was all good, and we gave blessings for that and all that sort of stuff. But then he sort of drew down into my reproductive area, and I've always had issues in my reproductive. I've always had an autoimmune condition where it's always affected my skin, and like whether it's dermatitis or cystic acne, all that type of stuff. I've always had that issue ever since I was a kid. So he's tapped into that as well. And he goes, let's have a look at that area. This part's a little bit more foreign, because it was the octopus that left. That was the most fundamental, whatever. But he's focusing on that area, and he goes, oh, when you get into relationships and connections, do you tend to get really aggressive and tell people to fuck off and all that sort of stuff? I said, and we sort of had a laugh, and I said, yeah, pretty much. I said, look, it's nothing that I'm proud of. It's nothing that I'm proud of. I thought it was just from the trauma and, you know, psychologically reacting to things and stuff like that. He goes, no, you've got another parasite down here. And it is attached, and it was all done by this one person. So we focused on that area, and because he's saying, you know, lack of libido, this and that and this and that. And I'm going, yep. I said, I'm just not naturally driven that way anyway. But yeah, so he goes, okay, let's work on that area. So we sat there and worked on the area, and he goes, tell me what you see. And I literally said, I feel like there is a massive thread worm that literally goes down, all down here. And he goes, exactly. He goes, that's exactly what I see. It's kind of like a snake. And I said, yeah. And he goes, okay, let's work on removing that. So the really weird thing is I was focused on the intention to remove this energy. And I literally saw a cut being done into my stomach. I could see, it wasn't bleeding, but I could see the red, like as if there was a real incision there. And I could actually feel this energy healer pulling this thing out. And it was just going and going and going and going. And the real weird feeling was it felt like it was, I could feel it like coming out as if you were pulling a rope. think of the Poltergeist movie. You know, in the Poltergeist, when they pull on that rope with all the jelly and that on it. If you haven't seen it, you probably make sense. But that's what it was like. And he was pulling. And he goes, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "Oh, I feel deflated." I said, "That's the best way I could feel it. I feel like my stomach is just deflated." He goes, "We're not done yet." He goes, "There's still a lot more in there." And I'm like, "Holy dooly." So he's pulling, and I can feel it. I can feel it coming out. And he goes, "What does it feel like now?" And I said, "It honestly feels like you're doing spiritual surgery on me. That's exactly what it feels like." And he goes, "Oh, that's a great way to put it, you know." And he's doing it. Next minute, I just felt that, like that. And I went, "Holy schmoly." And as soon as that worm, snake, whatever it was removed, I saw the incision just go and heal over. And he goes, "How do you feel now?" Like, my heart's racing just telling the story because it was so full on. And I said, "Oh my God, I feel so relieved." And my stomach felt like it was half its size. And I said, "I'm going to be really honest. I can't feel the pain in my back anymore. I've had back pain for so long. I just don't feel the pain in my back anymore." And he goes, "Oh yeah, wonderful," and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so that was all that. Mind blowing. And I felt energized at this point. I'm like, this is so cool. This is so cool. Anyway, so he goes, "Look," he goes, the main energy has been released and stuff like that. He goes, "But I'm being guided to your heart space. I'm being guided to your heart space. So let's just tap into your heart space," because obviously that's been blocked off for a long time. And this thing had such a grip on me that it was affecting my heart space. And anyway, so I said, "Okay, let's do that." Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm sort of got this natural smile on my face. I just felt so much more naturally, organically happy. And I'm laying there, I'm sitting there and stuff like that. And he goes, "Okay, I'm working up to your heart space." He goes, "What do you see? What do you see?" And I said, "I see a beautiful white, smoky substance coming basically in me, but moving its way up." I said, I feel like it's moving its way up. It's like sage smoke. It's absolutely beautiful." And he goes, "Okay." He goes, "Now what are you feeling?" And I said, "Oh, it's encapsulating me. I just feel so peaceful, like so much more at peace." And next minute I heard this, and I heard it like that. And I went, "Holy crap." And I started bawling my eyes out. Like, I could start now. And I just started bawling my eyes out. He goes, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "Oh my God." He goes, "That was your brother." He goes, "Your brother just entered you to take the trauma from his passing away from you, and he's taken it to where it needs to be." And I just howled my eyes out, literally howled my eyes out. And he goes, "Crying's great." He goes, "Tears are good." He goes, "You haven't cried much, or if at all, over this whole time." And I said, "No, because I've had to be strong for everybody." You know what I mean? I haven't, and even on a psychological sense, I haven't processed that, obviously to the best that I can, but I will. But yeah, and I was just bawling my eyes out. And he says, "Your brother just has so much love for you." And all that. So anyway, so I won't go into that because I'll probably start crying now. And yeah, the story will become 7 hours. But anyway, and then also Mum stepped through as well, and she didn't really do a lot or give a lot or anything like that. But I just pictured her smiling, and he even picked up on everything about how Mum passed, what she was feeling. I didn't tell this guy any information whatsoever at all. So he then said, "Okay," so we did that, and I just settled my energy, and oh my God. He goes, "How are you feeling?" And I said, "I feel like I've got my life back." I said, "Oh, are you serious?" "I feel like I've got my life back." I said, "No one's going to ever believe it, and I don't really give a shit." I said, "But I feel like I've got my life back. I will keep doing the residual energy cleaning and all that sort of clearing and all that sort of stuff." But I said, I feel like a bit of a douche because I didn't believe that those kind of things could happen to people. And he said, "Look, it does." He goes, "But you're a light worker." He said, "Your third eye, now that we've removed those energies and entities or whatever," he said, "your third eye is now heavily activated." So he goes, "You can expect your abilities to really take off from now, even though they were already starting to do that. That will happen." Then he even actually ran me through some tests. He gave me some names and told me to just, without using cards or anything, just tell him what I picked up on it and all the details. Honestly, I got all the details with so much more clarity, so much more knowingness. And he's going, yep, you're right. Yep, you're right. And I loved it because it didn't feed anything. It was just black and white. And I love that energy. Love that energy. But he said that's going to be really activated for you now. So you need to do this. You need to go and step out and get yourself out there a little bit more when it comes to my energy healing, especially the psychic insight. I mean, he even picked up on my son being extremely sensitive. There's just so much stuff. There was seriously so much stuff. And it was so funny because as soon as the healing sort of finished and he was just helping me settle my energy, the light on the ground disappeared. The light just disappeared. And it absolutely blew my mind. And so at the end, he ended up saying, how do you feel now? He's going to get in touch with me again in a couple of days to see how I go. But I feel like after reflecting, even though I had the trauma of obviously stuff that's happened to me physically in the past, I actually feel like how I was had nothing to do with that trauma. It had to do with this energetic attachment that was within me, trying to controlling me and manipulating me without me actually knowing it. I have yet to process that. I've been Googling. I'm hoping to have another chat with him so he can explain it to me a little bit more and stuff like that. But let's just say that energy got an ass whooping from me afterwards. So I'm probably sure they felt it. And yeah. Anyway, so how it currently stands is I still have my pinched nerve, but I do not have any back pain physically, or my dermatitis is clearing up. It will obviously take time, and it's going to take intention for me to keep cleaning up my own energy. We have to do it all the time anyway, because especially if you're a light worker and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm alive again. I have been waking up, and it's slowly increasing over the day. Over the days, I'm waking up so much more motivated. I am so much more focused. I feel like procrastination is gone. And I feel like it was this energy that was within me that was holding me back from everything. The last thing he said was, good luck to your future partners and that. He goes, because you're just a new you now. You're just a new version of you. And I said, I honestly feel that. I honestly feel that because I did and said and behaved in a lot of ways that was so not like me. People used to say, Dan, that's not like you. What's going on? That's not like you. What's going on? And I said, I don't know. I just feel like I've got this void. And I think that this energy that was entrapped in me was causing the void. And now that the void has been released and taken care of, and then my brother come and infuse me with his beautiful, beautiful, delicious white light and purity, it's now given me the clarity and the peace that I can now move forward with so much more grace, so much more feminine. That's another byproduct of all this too. Like, I've been working on my femininity as well because I've been in my masculine for so long. But energetically, I was doing it so hard. I was really, really doing it so hard because it was me against this beast that was within. The beast is gone now, and now I don't know how else to say it, but I feel like I can now be that childlike, innocent, feminine, nurturing, caring person that I've always been. The real me, you know, without excuse or apology, without reaction, without any of that sort of stuff. I can actually live and be that now, and I'm noticing it in my external environments already. The day after I had to whiz to the shop, it's like I floated in there. And everyone in the shop was kind, caring, loving, community orientated, passionate. I was picking up on all the positive energy naturally. I wasn't walking in and having to pre-pave my energy to intentionally feel that. I can't explain it. But yeah, and then I went and had my stuff done yesterday, my scans and stuff like that. And the ladies were friggin' truly of service. Beautiful, beautiful, caring, nurturing, loving, empathetic, beautiful, 444 on the camera. 44444. I just, beautiful. Oh, I can't explain it. It's like I say, it doesn't mean much to anybody else, but when you've been in that energy for so long, to feel that liberation and then to see it in the outside world without having to do a physical process. Like if I do that, then I'm going to experience that. I've been ranting about that in my lives anyway. But I said, well, what do I do now? Like once all this happened, I said, what do I do now? I said, I feel like I'm discombobulated. I feel good. I feel great. I feel centered. I feel all these sort of things. I said, but I feel so disorientated because it's like that's all I ever knew. And now it's gone. And he goes, have some fun. Go have some fun. Keep working on yourself, obviously. I have literally signed up and I invested in myself and signed up with Regan Hilliers Ignite with Regan. If you do want a link to that, you can join in that because I literally can 100% say that I feel like I'm healed and now I can intently and with a lot more passion and sincerely, I think sincerely with integrity. I always worked in those, but I just feel like this is genuine. I can genuinely create the life I desire. And I'm just naturally, just by being the real me, again, I'm starting to filter in and starting to see the outside world with such different eyes. I honestly, guys, I can't share this gentleman's name. I know a lot of people have been reaching out because obviously it's recommendation, it's word of mouth. I'll have a chat to him when I can. I don't think he's only one person too. I don't think he's in a position to sort of have thousands of people running at him. He already does. He already does. So I just want to respect the process. The process was that my soul needed help and support and I asked for it and I received it and I didn't receive it how I thought I was going to receive it. And that was the most exciting part. But I received it so humbly. They're just doing what they do. It was like a truck's like, I just do what I do because I want to help. Like I say, this all happened on Monday afternoon, so I'm still processing it, but I'm basking in it. So if you do know of anybody yourself that is a shaman or is an energy healer or anything, I would really recommend this process. I would really recommend it. I felt kind of embarrassed because it kind of felt that everything that I do in this realm of healing and coaching and mentoring and all that sort of stuff, it feels like friggin' sugar, icing sugar on a cake. There is intense energy work sometimes that needs to go into the center of the cake. Anyway, I'm not dismissing what I do and how I influence others and stuff like that, but I couldn't believe that that's what was happening within me for so long. And that was in me. And that was affecting all my external circumstances without even knowing it. That was the void. And now the void's gone. So yeah, that's my little story, you guys. So I hope that all made sense. If you have any questions, pop them down below. Honestly, there was so much that happened. I could sit here for days and I haven't sort of processed it. But I just love the feeling at the moment that I've been waking up in the morning and I don't feel like the weight of the world's on my shoulders anymore. I feel like I can go out and be fun and frisky, like legitimately, without pushing that or making it happen or anything like that. It's just, it's me. This is me back in the day when, I was just me. It's amazing. So if you have any questions, pop them down below. Thank you so much if you've watched the whole 50 minutes of this. It was such a surreal experience. And just stay tuned for what's next because everything about me it's changed, but it's changed for the better. I can't explain it. Anyway, I love you all so much. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you again soon. Okay, thanks guys, bye.